Boom, there it goes. So nice when they actually work. Another new day. Shop cleaning. Big, heavy cart. We put it on wheels. Put a coat of paint on it last night. Still need some steel for the top. Put a vise on it. That's gonna be very, very nice. Walking around trying to make sense because it's destroyed. There's crap everywhere. We spent all day yesterday. Got the sign up, look at that. Very nice, love it. It's absolutely destroyed and I just cannot stand it at all. We're still not to a point in this shop here. Everything is entrenched in my brain with where stuff is. Walk over and grab it as second nature. I still see the first shop. When I go to get fuel pressure, I go right over there and I grab, well, it's not there now, it's over here. You get the idea. This is the auction socket set as I was gonna integrate into our toolboxes. All of this, there's just stuff everywhere and it needs to not be everywhere. And the cleaners actually need drained when you turn them on and start doing intakes. We gotta start running these intakes through all of the cleaners before we kill the charge. Take these plugs off and let's get these things clean. The good ones are at the bottom. Every time I do this, I put the dirtiest ones in first because the cleaner has the most cleaning ability. And then as the cleaner gets black and nasty with water, I'll transfer down to the bottom ones. And generally I'll get 1 or 2 of them clean through this process, all the way done, ready to go. 3 intakes in the ultrasonic. Let it agitate a little bit. I don't know. They gonna ride? Kind of. It's at least warming them up, loosening up that soot. Going through our little box, our find from the auction. Look, they're all Blue Point. Warrantyable by Snap-on. That is freaking awesome. Figure out what I'm missing. All you trade school guys might need to take a little note of that. It's a heck of a lot cheaper to get your tools like this, and they're still warrantyable. I got lucky. Expert is what I've got in there, and that's warrantyable by Mac. So I guess we're just warrantyable by everybody. All right, so I did go ahead and fire this thing up. I wanted to take a look at this oil leak. And I think we found it. Need to look at that oil filter housing really good. Make sure there's no gouges in it. If there is, we're gonna have to get rid of that housing. We are underneath Ron's truck. There's the U-joint right there. When she locks it in 4-wheel drive, see, I've got it, it's free right now. It's on auto on the outside. We did put a pulse vacuum hub out of the white dually in here just to check. There's that one too. Okay, now 4-wheel drive, hit it. Okay, that just kicked in. Vacuum pump will kick on. Okay, I won't even move it. Let's just stay in suspense. Which is probably already locked. Yep, there you go. Okay, so it auto locked. Let's look at this one. Yep, auto locked. Now, see the pump just now kicked off. So that means we've got vacuum, but there's a delay. You can't just go from 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive right after going into 4-wheel drive. All right, go ahead and hit it 2-wheel drive. Now we'll have the delay for the vacuum pump. You'll hear the vacuum pump hit. See, it's still waiting. It's still locked. It has it right there. Okay, so it just it's sending the pulse down right now to free up the wheel down to the hub. I'm just touching the right there. It just kicked off. Look at that. Freed up. Okay, let's see if the other side freed up. Haha, okay. Here's where I banged up that knuckle seal to get it out. Yeah, I banged it up. I put it back in, but if you look at what we're doing right now, it's holding vacuum. It's working. You wanna do it one more time? Go ahead. Boom, it locked in that quick. That is freaking cool. Okay, so we're gonna go get a pulse vacuum hub and throw that on. So I would call 4-wheel drive is actually good right now. It's good to go. Shift on the fly works. Should I take that out, man? I mean, I dented that up. I screwed that up. Maybe I could just buy it. I'll buy that seal, and Ron, you can just have that seal. Or I can take it apart and put it back in. But right now, it appears to be working. All right, 2-wheel drive. How freaking cool. Watch. Here we go. We're waiting. Let's keep waiting. Okay, there's the pulse.
Come on. Boom, there it goes. Okay. So nice when they actually work. Yep, okay, they're not sticky. They're functioning exactly how they're supposed to. So we're gonna call that freaking a massive win. Might as well give you a visual up here. Remember I painted under the hood of the white dually? That's what I have hooked up. Took the old one out. I did find some bolts. We're missing one of the bolts. But that's freaking golden. Now remember we talked about the drive shaft? We got the carrier bearing here. We got the mid U-joint. Watch this right here. We got quite a bit of play in the slip joint. That probably would also have play up and down too. It could cause a little bit of vibration. We've got the drive shaft and everything on it. So if we wind up doing something with this drive shaft, which I might want to go ahead and just pull this off, pull the axles out. I'd like to have some new O-rings on the axles over there. And then take the drive shaft off, put an inch-pound torque wrench on the nut right there. Julie brought us some jack stands, we'll put them in. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this off. We're gonna double check this pinion load. So I'm gravely worried about the pinion nut, and I think I'm gonna tear the whole thing apart. Julie doesn't know yet. I didn't like it. I don't feel good about it. And Ron owns a shop. He's a freaking rear end guru. He was telling me all kinds of stuff to do with that, and I think I messed the bearing up. I think I ran at that 250 miles in the bearing. I hadn't pulled the axles out yet, but I spun the pinion and it had some vibrating. It felt like it was too tight in the bearing. The pinion bearing was grenading itself. Sorry guys, messed up the rear end. I grabbed the impact and went, and I think I did bang it too tight. Hopefully we don't have to pay some dues, but we're gonna at least inspect it. I think my preload's too tight, and I drove it 250 miles. If it was too tight, damage is done. And I'm really freaking worried about that. So, and the stub on the end of the pinion seems like I got quite a few threads out. Ron is wanting to come here to the shop when his truck is in process, and he's done so many of them that I don't think he would need a test drive. Me and him set up his rear end together, and then I could catch so many tips and tricks. I'm always game to learn something new, and he's been doing rear ends. He's a 35, 40 year, his whole life. He's got knowledge to give out, and I'd like to grab it if I can. And the fact that I just threw that rear end on, I think I got all caught up, grabbed the phone, grabbed the impact, and basically just went with it. I've got a couple of rear ends here that we could actually throw another one in it if we need to. And that's in my mind, that's the worst case scenario, is I'll just let him start with a fresh rear end because I did not mark all that stuff when I took the freaking nut off. So right now, let's get these wheels off, just like that. Now I'll come over here and I'll blow all this off a little bit, try to get it fairly clean, drop a drain pan down here because we're gonna spill a little bit of oil. You really, I mean, if you don't care about your wheels, you could pull this off and leave it on the ground. I mean, you could. Then it's not on jack stands. Then it just pours all over your wheel. But let's pull these out now. Go ahead and replace the axle O-rings. Ron gave me a pretty good pointer on that cover, how I glued both sides. He does a lot of rear ends, so I'm listening to his little tips and tricks and try to make them our own policy. Let's pull this thing out of here. If there's metal in the oil, then we bought all the oil too. I'm a worst case. I remember how hard I hit that with that impact. I should have been using, this is the impact that I should have been using. We've got a big impact and a small impact, and I'm almost positive that if you take this impact right here, it's a Mac, whatever, it will go all the way till it bottoms out and that pinion will be perfect. Since we're going through all this, we'll go ahead and set the preload how it's supposed to be. I'm just saying, I've done a whole bunch of these with this impact, and this whole endeavor we're doing right now is most definitely my fault. I'm chalking that up, but I don't want to let it go. I don't want to take a chance. I'd rather lose a little bit of time right now just so I can sleep at night, because it sucks worrying about stuff. Well, only things that are worth worrying about. If we do something to get that I don't feel comfortable with, it weighs on me. If we did the best we can, then we did the best we can. If something goes wrong, then it is what it is. If we did something not the best we could and something goes wrong, it's our fault.